So, let's talk in the next few minutes about alcohol pops and energy drinks. What are these things? Teens in the back, what are those?
Energy drinks.
Thank you. What are those?
Like those mixed drink things.
Okay. They're going to tell you what they really call them in just a minute. We call them alcohol pops. Okay? Energy drinks, right? We call them alcohol pops. Wait a minute. Not so easy to tell, is it? Energy drink, alcohol pop, that's a soda. What the heck? Yeah, see, now this is starting to get confusing. So let's talk about what these things are made out of, okay? The stimulant and depressant, mixing them together, what's going on with that? What are the medical experts doing? What are states doing about suing, and how the industry responds to this whole thing? It's kind of interesting because if you look at a lot of these energy drinks with alcohol, they are putting a stimulant and a depressant, both products, inside the same container. Doctors will tell you real quick, you know what the problem is with doing that? You'll end up with all kinds of medical issues. And doctors say this is not something you want to do. So I'm going to show you a study that they're doing on that. And states are actually looking at suing companies that are making these products. So what are teens drinking and what are they buying nowadays? Well, let's talk about Four Loko for a minute. You must have heard about that stuff, right? Yeah. Here is Four Loko, the evil can. Before I can talk about Four Loko, I really need to talk about this one, Tilt. This is Anheuser-Busch, InBev, okay? 6% alcohol was around for quite a while. Alcohol and energy drink together combined. It was a kind of a moderate seller, not that popular really. Had some fans, but not a whole lot. Well, the states said, we think we got some problems with this because you shouldn't be mixing a stimulant and alcohol together. We've now got the American Medical Association saying this stuff causes heart disease, putting these things together in young people. So we really shouldn't be doing that. So the state said, we're going to get together, the attorney generals are going to consider suing these companies for putting this together like this. So Anheuser-Busch said, wait a minute, we don't want to get sued. What's the problem? Well, you got caffeine in beer. And they said, how about if we take the caffeine out? So they said, okay. So they pulled it off the shelves, okay? That disappeared. Now, we also got a product over there called Sparks. Sparks is made by Miller Coors. Sparks was at 6%, just like Tilt. And Sparks, Miller Coors said, you can't tell us what to do, and they bumped it up to 8%. Kind of thumbed their nose right in our face. And then we said, we're not kidding. And they said, okay, we'll pull it off the shelves. So they pulled it off the shelves. Well, there was 3 business students from the University of Ohio said, we see an opportunity to make a pile of money. These guys have gone away. By voluntary compliance, they've gone away. There's no law been made at all. It's still legal to sell this. Okay? You guys starting to catch on what they're thinking? We now can slide in with our new product and sell this, and nobody's going to compete against us. Well, let's really go big. And that's exactly what they did. Look at the size container difference. Okay? They went up to a 23.5-ounce can, and they bumped up the alcohol in here. This can right here, the same amount of beer as 4 regular beers. And the same amount of caffeine is 5 cups of coffee. Okay? 5 cups of coffee. Those gentlemen made millions in a matter of months. Because our teens went, whoa, this is cool. Now, teens weren't satisfied with popping the top and casually drinking this over the course of the evening. Oh no, let's puncture a hole in it, do something called shotgunning. And maybe we ought to add vodka and rum to it as well. And now we got a pile of sick kids out there. And that's exactly, so I'll stay away from that slide for a moment, but that's exactly what happened. So what happened within a short period of time, this happened last October. I was at a meeting down in, where the heck were we? I don't know, it doesn't matter. I'm here somewhere. But I was representing Vermont, and a bunch of us around the table were talking about issues about alcohol nationwide. And it was asked, do you have anything to add to the agenda? And I said, yeah, I do. I want to talk about energy drinks again. And everybody's like, oh, geez. And somebody across the table from me, from the state of Washington, said, I'm glad you brought that up. This last weekend, we busted an underage drinking party in a rural part of Washington state, and we found 9 kids that had to go to intensive care. We're not sure if they're going to live or not, because they were drinking this stuff mixed with hard liquor. So we need to take a stand on this stuff. At the same instant, a young lady from Pennsylvania representing their state said, I just got a call this morning from an ER doctor down in Philadelphia saying they had 7 cases of overdose with teenagers in their ER that weekend. Got to do something about it. So as a group, we got together with the Attorneys General and the American Medical Association, approached the federal government, who's been looking at this for over 2 years, as to whether they want to regulate it, and said, you need to do it now. People are dying out there. And they did. So they notified the 4 Loko company, you've got to take it off the shelves. And they said, well, what's your problem with this stuff? The caffeine again. They said, okay. So they did. It disappeared for a very short period of time. And then it came back out again. It allegedly doesn't have caffeine, but we don't have a method of finding out if it does or not. Well, I'll tell you what, folks, you tell me the difference. They look the same, don't they? Same amount of alcohol in there. So, oh, and by the way, let's not forget Mr. Anheuser-Busch here. They said, well, if they can do it, we can too. So they took their tilt and bumped it up to 12% and put it in a big can too. They can play with the big boys just like everybody else. So, yeah, they're back. Wonderful, isn't it?
Does the tilt have caffeine too? Or?
Well, it says it doesn't, but we're not really sure. See, the reason I keep saying we're not really sure, ingredients in drinks are protected under the federal government, the Federal Trade Commission. Yeah, they don't have to reveal their formulas. It's a trade secret. So we can't really check. This is what the doctors were telling us. They were finding a lot of young people coming into the emergency room with something called cardiomyopathy, and I was like, what is that? And they said, it's an irregular heartbeat. You're not supposed to see that in a teenager because they're drinking that stuff mixed with hard liquor. That's what they're finding. That's the caffeine and alcohol mixture. There's a lot of non-alcohol energy drinks out there, and that's one of the things I have to do is train cashiers about, does this have alcohol or does it not have alcohol? You got to make sure you know what you're selling here. Okay, so the companies that make a non-alcohol, a lot of them decide to make an alcohol version, and it's a little hard to tell one from another, isn't it? They kind of look a lot alike. There's a gentleman that has decided to do a survey of how many there are out there, different kinds. He's come up with over 1,000 different kinds so far. And here's the problem. Notice Rockstar 21 is marked 6% alcohol top and bottom. There's no law that says they must put alcohol content on there. Next time you run across a Bud Miller or Coors, look at the container. There's nothing on there anywhere that says it contains alcohol. Nothing. Because the federal government has not ordered that to happen. Although I'm working with the industry, they actually would like to put that on there, and we've got a little problem with some regulators saying we're not sure we want to allow you to do that. So we've got to work that out. 3 of those have alcohol, 3 of them do not. As a parent, you need to know which is which, because we've actually had parents go into stores buying an energy drink for their teenager because they don't know what kind to get. The teenager says, well, get me this kind, or get me this kind, or get me that kind. And you can legally buy it. So the store clerk's going to sell it to you when you give it to your youngster, and they're going to be drinking an alcoholic beverage. Okay, teens, what do you really call these things? Not alcohol pops. Are they? Okay, everybody's so polite. They're called bitch beers. That's what young people call them, and have for a long time. Yeah, they're called bitch beers. We adults go, what? We're not even on the same page with our teenagers on this stuff. We're not. There's a little downside to those things. They make you fatter. So that's what I tell teen girls. Oh, you guys are the ones that drink them? Really good. You want to be fatter? Is that what your goal is here? And they go, well, of course not. Well, that's the truth of the matter. So if we have the time, and we don't, but there's a whole bunch of data that talks about these beverages are specifically designed for our young girls, about age 15. They're really target marketed for that group. No question about it. So, what are they doing about it? Well, they're definitely consumed by young girls. The industry says they're actually target marketed for women aged 27, when their survey found that that was the number bottom, the very bottom beverage requested by people over the age of 21. Most women that are over 21 want nothing to do with these things. They're sold in all our convenience stores all over the state. And the state's trying to get these things out of the convenience stores and into the liquor stores, which would decrease the availability and I think control it a lot better, but we haven't had a lot of luck with that so far. And the industry itself says on alcohol pops, bitch beers, whatever you want to call them, that this is a way to introduce new drinkers to the drinking world. That's what it's for. The bottom bullet there says this is the perfect bridging beverage between sodas and hard liquor. That's exactly what it's designed for. It's kind of like training wheels for hard liquor. And when you talk about who's seen what, yeah, pretty much teenagers have seen these things, not adults. So I'm going kind of quick because I've only got a couple of minutes here. I want to show you some more stuff. I got to show you this stuff. The industry they're always trying to sell things, and that's what they do. There's nothing wrong with that. But some of the stuff they come up with is pretty weird. They've come up with popsicle alcohol. Jello shots packaged up for retail sale, 14.5% alcohol. Wine ice cream. This is sold in Vermont, by the way. It's got to be 21 to buy that ice cream. Whipped cream that's got alcohol infused, so it's about 20% alcohol. Adult chocolate milk comes also in a creamsicle flavor. And then the internet. Whoa, the internet is a wonderful place to buy your alcohol. Because see, all you got to do is put in your mythical date of birth in here, and you can get into anything you want. Get a credit card somehow from mom or dad, and they'll ship directly to your door. I'll never find out about it as a police officer. I'll never even know what happened. I'm not saying it's okay to do that. I'm saying we're looking at how we can figure out how to deal with it. Because some of these products are pretty strange. I had somebody ask me, is that illegal? I went, no, it's not illegal. Of course it's not. They go, well, how can you sell them? And I said, well, we don't know that they're being sold. They're just shipped directly. Yeah, beer brewed from raw milk. It's a top favorite. Aerosol alcohol, which you suck into your brain, goes through your lungs and it gets to your brain real quickly. Tablet alcohol comes in 4 different flavors. There's also a powdered version of that. There is a beer that is brewed in Germany that they infuse nicotine into it so that it's more addictive that way. There are containers that are designed to hide booze so you can sneak them into places. The dram sandal has showed up in more than one restaurant in Vermont already. Totally serious. Next product is a wearable product called beer booze. It is a strange product, I gotta tell you. They also came out with one called the wine rack and the beer belly for guys. So this is my ultimate couple. It just doesn't get better than this, right? Good Lord.